white or shades of white is still the most popular. Gray, blue, and green are the other options.
All right.
And if you look at the blues and the greens, they will tend to have a shade of gray in them. And the reason for that is so much easier to decorate with other colors. If you wanted cobalt blue cabinetry, certainly we can do it. We offer all the Sherwin-Williams paint colors as standard. Different colors to choose from. But if you want cobalt blue, my biggest concern and first question is going to be how long before you get tired of that color?
You have found Authentic Business Adventures, the business program that brings you the struggle stories and triumphant successes of business owners across the land. Downloadable audio episodes can be found in the podcast link found at drawincustomers.com. We are locally underwritten by the Bank of Sun Prairie, and today we are welcoming / preparing to learn from Alan Curran of Curran Cabinetry and Design. I almost forgot the and design part.
Perfect.
So Alan, how is it going today?
Today's going well. It's a beautiful sunny day.
Yeah. We're talking cabinetry here.
We are.
So let's just start with the foundation. How do you get in the cabinetry business?
Well, how I got into the cabinetry business is I applied for a job having had experience selling to general contractors.
All right.
And found out a little bit later that I was the only one who applied and dressed in a suit. So
by default.
That's my claim to fame, is I wore a suit the right day.
You know, that's funny you say that. Side anecdote here. I'm hiring. I guess you've been doing some hiring.
Mm-hmm.
And I get people on Zoom meetings. You probably, I imagine, have people in person.
A bit of both. But
And so how are people dressing when they come to apply to your job?
much more casually than I would like
Yeah. You're talking
or would expect.
almost to the point of jammies.
Tennis shoes sometimes.
Okay.
And it's like, okay, we're kind of a big ticket item,
Mm-hmm.
and we're selling to typically professionals or, people are, most of our customers are 55 years of age and older. That's starting to change a little bit, but I mentioned to one of my employees who wants to dress a little more casual than I would like, and I said, okay, have you ever gotten a compliment on how you're dressed? And he says, well, no. And I says, I have. And
I love that.
It's not like I'm bragging or anything of that sort. It's just, to me, it's kind of a showing respect
Absolutely.
for the people that you're talking to. And if you want to come across as professional, I think you need to dress professionally. So that's kind of where my thought process goes.
That is totally true. I was just watching the movie Casino,
Mm-hmm.
and the thing that stuck out there was Robert De Niro's suits.
Suits.
It was almost every scene. He's got a different color, and they're bright, and I'm like, what a baller.
Nothing like a sharp-dressed man.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I heard a stand-up comic talking about the way people dress at the airport, where it used to be kind of a show thing. It was a big deal
Yeah.
to go on a flight, and you would dress because it was an event. And now they're just like, roll out of bed and maybe I'll put my socks on.
So we just went to Napa Valley, my wife and I, and early flights, and people were in sweats and hoodies, and it's like, well, okay. Granted, I'm dressed more casual than what I am now because I want to be comfortable, but it's different than what it was. It's going to show age here, but 30, 40 years ago,
Sure.
when you get on a plane, and yeah, it was a high-end event to be able to be on a plane, and now it's just a necessary evil.
Yeah, it's interesting because I always wonder, who am I going to be sitting next to? No one's going to be like, oh, nice jogging pants, right? Or they're not going to be inclined to chat.
Well, exactly. And for me, I get a lot of, if I'm sitting next to a couple, not to be sexist about this, but when the husband finds out what I do for a living, don't talk to my wife. Right? Because she's probably more inclined.
New kitchen.
But interesting, on my trip back from Napa, we flew through Minneapolis, and the person I sat next to was an architect.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, what a great connection that is.
Yeah.
Because architects are one of the people that kind of plan out spaces and things of that sort, so we had a lot to talk about and a lot in common.
That is cool.
Yeah.
So,
He was dressed in a suit, by the way.
oh, nice. So it's interesting because the suit on a plane, I like the idea of it, but the planes are so tight.
Oh,
And I don't know how you can get off that plane without having your suit just be a wrinkled
totally
mess.
wrinkled, yeah.
So there's the movie, you're in a suit on an airplane, and then there's no way.
The reality.
Yeah, because you get off that thing and it'd just be like a bed sheet that got out of the dryer. Like, ugh, what is this?
Yeah, well,
So
today's world.
yeah, fair. And in the end, I don't know. I suppose people are more accepting of it to a point.
COVID created a lot of things in our world, and one of them is, hey, I don't have to get dressed to go to work, so I can kind of wear just about anything I want. If you're on a Zoom call, you have to dress for work from the waist up.
Yeah, don't even need
And
pants.
the rest, yeah, I don't want to know about the rest.
Right.
But
Keep that camera up here.
so it becomes kind of a different world.
Right on.
So
Right on. So you got this job. Was it selling cabinetry, or was it selling just to a GC other stuff?
sell a little bit of both. It was a larger company here in Madison. At the time, we covered pretty much the southern half of the state.
Oh wow.
We sold to lumber yards. We sold appliances at the time. We did design work, but now keep in mind, cabinetry, this would be back in the 80s. It's a storage industry at that point. It's not a design industry. So fashion didn't come into play, and that's why you saw so many kitchens, oak cabinets, oak cabinets, oak cabinets. Is readily available as an inexpensive wood relative to other species. Once in a while it'd be an upgrade to cherry, but that was kind of it. And as time progressed, you would find it became more and more of a fashion industry, and I was fortunate enough to grow along with that.
Got it.
So,
Okay.
And at that point, back in the 80s, most of the design aspect of our industry was taught by cabinet manufacturers, simply because there weren't the interior design programs that featured kitchen and bath, which is much different today.
Okay.
Madison College has a program. There's others. There's another school up near Stevens Point that actually have courses specializing in kitchen and bath design.
You're talking about for kids going to college.
Mm-hmm.
They can specialize that focused.
They can.
Wow.
So it's part of the interior design program,
Okay.
but part of the criteria is going to be specifically on kitchen and bath.
That is so interesting. I guess I knew interior design as a whole was a thing, but it never dawned on me that you'd be focused that specifically on these are the two rooms. But now to think about it, you're going to interior design a living room as much as a kitchen or bathroom? Like there's way more things in a kitchen and bathroom.
Yeah, well, we specialize in cabinetry.
Mm-hmm.
All our cabinetry is made by the Amish and made locally, within, for the most part, within 60 miles of Madison. So where the cabinet's located, it's usually in the kitchen and bath. Now, we do, I've done bedroom furniture, entertainment centers, wet bars, of course, furniture pieces for bathrooms, dressers. I have, now keep in mind I'm tied into cabinetry, but I have 3 bedroom sets at home that weren't from a furniture manufacturer, they're from a kitchen cabinet manufacturer.
Oh, wow.
In many cases you can modify to get whatever size you want that way, get whatever finish that you're looking for, and have a lot more styles to choose from. And to be honest, the furniture industry, a lot of materials are hidden, so you don't really know what the quality of the box of the cabinet, so to speak, or the box of the piece of furniture is. So here we can get the full extension slides. You can get, with the soft close, you can get soft close hinges. You can get dovetailed solid wood drawer boxes, all kinds of features that you can't always get with the furniture pieces.
What is a
But the price tag,
dovetailed?
what is a dovetail? Good question. An interlocking dovetail is in a corner where 2 boards are joined together. They're actually interlocking. And instead of the fingers just being straight, they actually fan out, which is why the term is dovetail, because it actually expands as you get to the outside of the joint. And then it's glued, but it is impossible to pull that joint apart.
All right.
Unless the glue completely fails, which is, I don't know that I've ever seen it.
Okay.
But a dovetail joint is a real strong way of making a drawer box that does get a lot of wear and tear.
All right. How do they get them together? Do they slide together fine?
One overlaps the other from the outside.
Okay.
It's elfin magic is what
All
I
right.
call it.
Fair. You mentioned the soft close and a few other things. When did those come about?
Forgive me for running through some terms that
No, you're
aren't
good, you're
always
good,
familiar,
you're good.
but some of the features that people are looking for in today's cabinetry is one for the drawers, for example, to slide completely out of the cabinet so you have full access. And in doing so, what they've also come up with is a piston type system that when you close it, the last, it's usually 2 or 3 inches depending on the manufacturer, it'll slow down the motion, and so there's no slamming of a drawer. So if you have teenagers at home, it might come in really handy to be able to slow that down so they don't have the opportunity to slam things shut. Same holds true with doors. There's a little mechanism inside the hinge that is a piston that slows the motion down, so it's a soft close. It's not a loud bang where wood's hitting wood.
All right. How long have those been around?
Depending on price range. The systems have been around for, I'm going to say, probably 15 years.
Okay.
But now it's getting down into the more affordable cabinet lines, just because it's more common for people to expect it.
You know, it's so interesting because I remember the first time that I came across, I think, a drawer that's shut. And I don't know if it was at an open house, at a whatever house or something like that. And I felt like a monkey that met a computer because you're just like, what is this magic?
Well, and of course the price tag goes along with it.
Sure.
You know, because there's a lot more parts and pieces and
Way
it's
more
more involved.
Yeah.
And you're boring holes into the back of the drawer box for some of the adjustments. Now, other things that coincide with those drawer slides is you can adjust the drawer left and right, up and down in the front, and tip it forward and backward in the back, all within the adjustments available on the drawer slide.
Wow.
The whole idea is that labor costs keep going up and up. So what we're trying to do is make all those adjustments easier to do to help keep installation being quicker, easier, less costly.
All right. And this is, I guess, my first dresser I can imagine was a rectangular cutout and a drawer that went in there, and the drawer slide was just the drawer riding on the piece of wood that was between
Wood
the
on
next
wood.
drawer.
Mm-hmm. The problem is in Wisconsin, we have high humidity in the summertime. Wood on wood, the way to grease the wheels, so to speak, is use paraffin wax so that it slides on the paraffin wax instead of the wood on wood, because the wood will swell in higher humidity.
All right.
So
interesting. This is, I don't know if you know this or not, but it's interesting to me, regardless of what other people may think, right? Because I come from a mechanic background, and the toolboxes and the chests that have roller bearings and all this kind of stuff, when you look at the cheap stuff compared to the fancy stuff, and you see that migrating into kitchens and bathrooms and stuff like that. I care probably more about my toolbox than I do about my kitchen cabinets, so sorry. But it's interesting.
So you're the one.
Yeah, I'm the guy. There's just more important tools there. I don't know. I just need a fork in the kitchen, but in the garage, you have a medley.
Well, my wife teases me about the amount of tools that I have and how lack of often-ness that they get used.
Oh!
Because I need to have them in case I need them.
Sure.
Whether it's for work or at home. But the older I get, the less I do myself.
All right, fair. That's all right.
And so it's sometimes easier to hire someone to do it because I know they can do it faster. And if they're good at their trade or their craft, I know they can probably do a better job than I can because I only do it now and then.
Yeah. But you have enough experience and you're intelligent enough to know when they mess up.
Talk about dangerous knowledge. So I can see from a distance if something's not right. That doesn't mean that I can do it, but I know that it's not done correctly.
Fair.
So
yeah, it's just like watching a plane crash, right?
Well,
that's not the right way, but I don't know how to do it correctly.
I can't be the pilot. I just know that landing on the water was not the original
something
intent.
ain't right here. So let's go back. You are selling for somebody else. When was that switch where you're like, I need to start my own gig?
The actual change took place 1 month shy of 30 years. So I worked for the same company for 1 month shy of 30 years.
Wow.
I had a lot of freedom. I had a lot of working on my own. So it didn't really always feel like I was working for a company. But the owner had started, had joined some business networking groups of other kitchen and bath dealers throughout the country. And it seemed like every time he came back for the last 5 years, my pay was being rearranged.
Oh.
And in particular, the last 3 years was not to my favor.
I was just going to ask, did it keep going up, right?
No. And then we were good friends for a long time, but there got to be a little more friction because then he would get upset because he was changing the structure for the benefit of the company, and I would in turn use the system that he created to benefit me and how I get paid. So there's no sense for me to sell product or push is a sales term which isn't really applicable, but try and promote products that I get paid less on. And so we were paid on a sliding scale, and it, as an intelligent, I feel, individual, I mean, go for what's going to make you more money, as long as it's within the parameters of solving the issues or the problems for the homeowner themselves.
Right, right. They were tweaking the system. You were smart enough to game the system, which is just,
Work
that's
the
how it
system a little
goes,
bit,
right?
yep.
Work the system. Like they give you the rules of the game,
I follow the rules.
right? This is Monopoly.
Yep.
Build your houses, build your hotels, and then don't get angry when I build houses and hotels, right?
Right.
So I get that. So then did it come to a point where they said, see you later? Or it came to the point where they said, hey, you're going to make 2 cents instead of 2,000?
There was one project in particular. It was new construction. It had a kitchen. It had built-ins in the dining room, 2 or 3 bathrooms, several trips to the job site, because not only do we field measure, but we also go out and talk with the installers to make sure they understand how things are designed to be put together and such. And my commission on the job was $500. The cost of driving my vehicle and everything, that's all out of pocket on my end.
Oh.
And so I've been thinking, you know, how many of these can I physically sell in a year and make a living? And so that was kind of the light bulb going off and thinking, and you know, it's, my wife was seeing more and more frustration with how things kept getting rearranged. And she says, well, why don't you just go out on your own? I says, well, easier said than done. At the time, Madison, and it still might be true, but at the time, Madison had more kitchen and bath dealers than Milwaukee does.
Really?
So it's like, well, I think there's plenty of competition out there, so now it's just a question of, do I want to stay in the same industry, et cetera, et cetera. And then I'm a member of the National Kitchen and Bath Association. Our chapter covers the entire state of Wisconsin. I went to 3 chapter meetings in a row where I was listening to other kitchen and bath dealers complain about how hard it is to compete against the Amish cabinet shops. And I says, I get it. At the time, I had 11 bullet points of why a homeowner and or a general contractor would not want to work with the Amish.
Oh, really?
Well, because I was on that side of it.
Yeah.
And it was, you never knew when you're going to get the cabinetry. There's no showroom. You kind of have to take the word of them how well it's going to be put together. You don't really have any displays to see. Stain samples usually, but not always. So it would be difficult making those decisions, and you'd be talking to an Amish cabinet maker about the cabinetry alone, knowing putting together, then, okay, how do the countertops interact with that? What type of face hardware, handles, knobs do you want to put on the hardware? And then, of course, the Amish typically are not going out to the job site to explain to whoever's installing the cabinets any little idiosyncrasies of, okay, you got to put this in first, and then this follows, et cetera, et cetera. So the last of the 3 meetings was up in the Fox River Valley. So in the 2.5 hour drive home, it's like, this might be the opportunity. If I can find an Amish cabinet maker that can give me consistent lead times, whatever that lead time is, as long as I know that I can tell the homeowner at the time they purchase, this is how long it is before you get your cabinets. Because then the general contractor can schedule around that. As opposed to, well, we can only go so far, and then we're going to sit and wait for the cabinets to show up whenever that is.
And someone's kitchen is apart at that time.
And they do not have a functioning kitchen at that point. So the thought was, is if I can solve, that was the major issue, create a small showroom. At first, I didn't really work. I brought in a lot of samples and then had some cabinetry to look at, not a lot. And then as things grew, so did the amount that we show in the showroom as well.
All right. You touched on a lot of things there.
Sorry.
No, which is great, which is great. So I love that it was just a ride home where you're like, oh, here's a problem. Let's go solve it. First one, how do you find an Amish
Well, as a
company?
designer, you're a problem solver.
Yeah.
Because usually the homeowner's going to come and say, this is what I don't like about my kitchen, or this is what I feel my kitchen doesn't function well doing. And so those are the issues that you want to delve into and figure out how you can solve those issues for the benefit of the homeowner.
All right.
So,
So how do you find, or let me back up a step.
no,
Let me
I'm
back up a
following your
step.
question as far as, how do you find an Amish cabinet maker?
Yeah, these are the problems that you listed. Like, hey, I got to find somebody that doesn't fall under this.
So the trick really was, well, back then, 11 years ago it wasn't so bad as it was 40 years ago, but they're not in the internet because they're not part of
Electricity,
anything
whatever, yeah.
electric, which also means they don't have separate phones typically. And some of that's changing now. But since they don't have phones, yellow pages don't exist for them. So literally it was going to different communities that you knew there were Amish and then asking some of the local storekeepers. Do you know of Amish in your community? Do you know any of them that build cabinets? And then it would be, okay, whatever contact information I could get. Calling them wasn't really the best approach because if they don't have that phone for just them, they won't know to call you back if they're not there to answer it. So you would literally go to their shop, have a discussion if they would be willing to talk to you, and then explain what I have in mind and how this could work for them, how it could work for us, how it could work well for the homeowner, and see if it's something they're interested in. And then I can have a discussion on what methods they use for building the cabinets. At that point, having been around cabinets for 30 years, had a pretty good understanding of what's good, what's bad, what do you use, what's not so great to use. And then it's a question of, well, how do you know what their quality of workmanship is? Because they'll show you in some things that they've already built. So what I did is I asked for their delivery person's contact information, which isn't Amish. Usually it's someone who has a vehicle, a trailer, a truck, or some form of being able to transport the cabinets from the shop to the job site. And I would ask them, of the cabinets that you deliver, how often do you have to send cabinets back to the shop to get remedied, repaired, built correctly that wasn't the first time? And use that as my gauge of quality level.
That's a smart move.
Well, when you think about things, right?
Yeah.
Delve into, okay, well, who's going to have the knowledge? And then seek out that person to see what information you can get from
That
them.
is so interesting. Delivery driver, who most people probably just skate right over, ignore, whatever.
Well,
But they have all the information.
keep in mind, what I'm doing is I'm replacing the interaction with the cabinet shop themselves. So if something goes wrong, they don't have the cabinet shop to blame, they'll be blaming me, so it's my reputation.
Totally.
So it's, protection of your reputation. And starting off in a business, that's what you want to keep intact, and that's going to help you grow quickest, is having a good reputation.
Fair. Tell me, you mentioned that if they're willing to talk to you, did you get some people that were not interested in talking to you?
Didn't have time at the moment, weren't there at the shop when I showed up. And it's interesting, an older gentleman, and he gave me, we talked for 45 minutes to an hour just when I showed up, which amazed me that they had that much time. And toward the end of the conversation, he says, well, I really like what you have in the works, what you're planning to do. I'd love to be a part of it, but I'm looking to retire in 6 months. Glad you told me today, as opposed to 3 months from now. And so then he turned to me and he says, well, before you leave, there's 7 shops in our community that used to work for me, so they build cabinets the way I do. And these are people that, I would recommend that you go talk to. I says, great, but of the 7, what 3 would you recommend the highest? Those are the 3 that I sought out, and 2 of them I started working with almost right away.
Oh, nice.
So,
all right. So when they're, I don't know if this is a stupid question or not, so I apologize if it is.
Probably not.
So when they're building cabinets, I'm picturing, is an electricity a thing? Or do they have a bicycle with a big blade? Or what are they cutting?
Well, kind of a mix. Electricity's not to be in the shop at all.
Okay.
Okay?
So there's no circular saws, no bandsaw, no...
On the contrary.
All right.
There is either a gas or a diesel engine at the end of the shop.
Okay.
That runs a drive shaft that goes through the concrete floor all the way through the shop. It's covered up with sheets of 3/4 inch plywood so they have access to it. And then everything is band driven, like not rubber bands, of course, but
Sure, big belts.
big belts. And so everything is belt driven off that drive shaft. And I am thoroughly amazed at how they're able to get drum sanders, screw guns. Keep in mind it can only go in one direction. So if they're screwing something in and have to take that screw back out, that comes back out by hand. Remember those old hand crank?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen them use it. Then even the air compressors are run by a belt driven for the compressor. And there it's large enough so that it's consistent in pressure so that when they're spraying finish, you get a nice smooth even coat. So there's a lot of thought that goes into how they manipulate, how they modify
Sure.
to make,
Bypass
to
the
make it work for
system.
them. But you'll go into a shop and you'll start to see, these like almost looks like a pulley system, but these different bands that go like up and over a door. And it's like, well, of course,
sure.
it can't go through the door because then you'd have to shut everything down to be able to go through. And keep in mind, the engine runs all day long. So all these belts are moving all the time, and then you have a clutch, just like for a manual transmission on a car, whether it's in gear or engaged or disengaged.
Wow.
So it's pretty clever.
So a machine is spinning the blade. It's just not necessarily run by electricity.
Correct.
Interesting. All right.
Now they will have, in the ceiling of the shop, they'll have fiberglass panels so that they get more light because
just gonna
there's
ask
no
about light.
there's
Yeah.
no lighting in there. They will, especially in the wintertime, they will run a generator off the belt-driven generator to charge batteries, and this is where it gets to be a little bit of a gray area
Shady.
for them. To charge the batteries to put into lamps and lanterns that they can
Okay.
work a little bit later into
All right.
the late afternoon and such. So,
Interesting.
like I said, and I have also found that each community, so not all Amish cabinetry is made the same.
Sure.
There's different quality levels
Right.
and different ability levels and different joinery that's used from one area to the next. But I do find that most communities, which say a community is going to be, think of it as a church group, and they will have one leader, and that leader gets to determine what rules can change and what rules can't.
Oh.
So you'll find that this community can do this. This community, they have not been allowed to do certain things. And it's all based on that one leader for each
Interesting.
community, which is different
All
amongst
right.
communities. So it was some getting used to.
I
I mean,
bet.
some of the hurdles to overcome was communication.
Huge.
So they don't have email. That's starting to come around. Some of them now have cell phones.
Oh,
I
really?
can't figure out quite how that's working
All right.
because I'm not sure how they're recharging the batteries on the cell phones. But because it used to be that there was no answering machine because they don't believe in the recorded voice.
Oh,
They don't want their picture taken.
okay.
What are some other quirky things? Their weddings are typically on Thursdays,
Oh,
which
because they have a 4-day party? I don't, maybe.
no,
No.
I don't know why it ends up on Thursday, but most of the weddings end up on Thursday, so that's an interruption in the work week.
Oh, okay.
So, and sometimes the entire shop shuts down because they all know the person getting married.
I imagine there's close-knit.
Oh, very much
group,
so.
So, yeah. Okay.
And then a lot of the communities don't have a church building, which is what most of us think of.
Yeah.
They'll take one of the businesses and have them clear out the shop. So all the machinery in a sense gets moved to a side. Some communities will have pews that go from business to business depending on weekend to weekend. So it's kind of clever, but your church service could be in a cabinet shop,
Oh.
which is kind of a different way of approaching things. But
So you're talking taking down all the belts and all that stuff and cleaning up the wood dust and all that?
to some extent, not the entire shop is torn down to nothing, but it's to create one large area, large enough to seat however happen to be in their congregation.
All right. Wow.
So you learn a lot working with these people, but I find them to be very honest, very genuine, mostly trusting, but you do have to earn their trust.
Sure.
Very accommodating. They take a lot of pride in their work. So that's why, you tend to find pretty high quality. If there is an issue, they're more than willing to remedy whatever the problem might be. Whether it's people that installed it, the electrician drilled a hole in the wrong spot. So since it's done locally, it can be a pretty quick turnaround. You're not waiting 3 or 4 weeks for something to come from a factory.
All right.
So the whole concept that we use is that what is it going to take to keep the job moving? Doors and drawer fronts, that's not going to slow down getting the cabinets installed where countertops can be measured. So it's a little of pick your poison, so to speak, or what can be done. But I've had instances where something was built 24 inches deep, but it was intended to be only 18 inches deep. So I picked up the 2 cabinets, took them back to the cabinet shop. They held people back to cut down the cabinets, reassemble, and then I put them back in my vehicle and was able to deliver them to the job site at 8 o'clock the next morning.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I can't promise that can happen every time
No.
because it all depends on what needs to be modified. I had another instance, sometimes if the mechanics of something isn't working properly, like on pocket doors or something of that sort, or hidden doors, I'll have someone from the cabinet shop come down and take a look at it. Because that's usually where the general contractor or the carpenters on site don't want to really start messing with stuff if they're not familiar with how the mechanics of the particular feature works. So.
Gotcha. And is that to the point where you have to give them a ride?
They will, it's more efficient, they'll hire a driver.
Okay.
And the driver will typically have a van or something of that sort. And the van drivers charge a lower rate than the delivery people because they don't have to pull the trailer carrying cabinets.
All right.
So it's, we have an Excel spreadsheet and our CRM program for scheduling deliveries and some of those repairs and things of that sort, so we can forecast out ahead.
Oh, nice.
So we use technology on our end to cover up or help conceal the lack of technology on their end.
Fair.
So,
And how long has your business been going?
we're just beyond 11 and a half years.
Okay. All right. So you've seen some stuff.
Made it through COVID.
Yeah.
COVID was a growth period for us. As I mentioned earlier, people were stuck at home and decided to let's spend the money on the kitchen or the bath or whatever instead of buying a new car, going on vacation, that type of thing.
Fair.
So that was a growth area for us. It's, we get a lot of referrals from general contractors, interior designers, past clients. So the more past clients we have, the more referrals we're getting from that end as well.
All right.
And, some are repeat customers. They remodel a bathroom this year, and then so many years down the road, they remodel the kitchen or entertainment center, or once they've experienced, and if that experience is positive, then they're typically very willing to do it again.
Nice. Would you say most of your work comes from general contractors just bringing you on, or is it more you individually selling the homeowner?
Right now, it's more us selling the homeowner. We have an average 5-star Google review, and also through Houses 5 stars. So when people visit those sites or look up us on the internet, sometimes they're using that as their judge, at least to give us a call and talk to us.
Mm-hmm.
Are we a perfect fit for everybody? No. The best way I can describe it is we're selling full custom cabinetry at semi-custom cabinet pricing. We don't get it down to the stock grade or the starter home grade of cabinetry. So in remodeling, we're replacing that starter home cabinetry with something a little bit better. In new home construction, we tend to be in homes starting at maybe 3,000 square feet and above, because then it's the homeowner usually wanting what they want and have a little bit larger pocketbook than trying to compete with, are we going to have a blacktop driveway or a concrete driveway? Are we going to plant seed for the lawn, or is it going to be sodded? Because in the starter homes, that all comes into play. There's a budget, mm-hmm. and they have to figure out where they're going to prioritize to fit within that budget. And pricing on cabinetry, every cabinet manufacturer wants their cabinets to look good, and they do. The issue starts to become with what materials are they using, how long is it going to last, and how well is it going to function as years go by.
Got it. Tell me a story about wood. You got cabinetry made of wood.
Yes,
There's 50 million different species of wood.
yes.
Oak, you mentioned, was the thing in the 80s and 90s.
Occasionally we do sell red oak yet, maybe once or twice a year.
Okay. Okay. So
it-
what has been popular? What is popular now?
We, as standard, will carry 7 different wood species. So it's red oak, least expensive to most expensive. So red oak, red alder, hickory, maple, and cherry are the same price right now. And then white oak and walnut.
All right.
Walnut didn't sell any of it until I put it on display. And it's been a real popular wood, not high percentages, but fairly popular. White oak gets asked for a lot, but trees don't grow that fast. So again, keep in mind, pricing is based on supply and demand. Pricing on red oak is low because the demand isn't that high. Pricing on white oak, the demand is very high. So the price has gone up because you can't grow trees fast enough to meet the demand. So what they do is they raise the price to kind of quell some of that demand.
Gotcha. And the majority of what you do is stained, not painted?
4 or 5 years ago, I'd say that's true.
Okay.
Right now, we're probably doing 60 to 70% painted cabinetry.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's gotten that high.
And is it just white cabinets, or is it somebody's painting them pink, or are they going crazy?
Pink has been done, not by us, but I have seen displays done in painted pink.
All right.
It's kind of a dusty rose color for the pink. But the popular colors, I mean, white or shades of white is still the most popular. Gray, blue, and green are the other options.
All right.
And interestingly enough, if you look at the blues and the greens, they will tend to have a shade of gray in them. And the reason for that is so much easier to decorate with other colors because you're muting that. In other words, if you wanted cobalt blue cabinetry, certainly we can do it. We offer all the Sherwin-Williams paint colors as standard, which, I don't know, 7,000 different colors to
It's a lot
choose
of
from.
colors,
It's a lot. But if you want cobalt blue, my biggest concern and first question is going to be how long before you get tired of that color,
Oh, okay.
right? Because every time you go for a cup of coffee, you're looking at those cobalt blue cabinets. I love cobalt blue, but I'm afraid I would get tired of it. And so if
Sure.
you take that blue and mute it down with some gray, then that tends to help the eye survive
All
the trip
right.
to the kitchen.
It'll
every day.
last longer in your head, kind of
Yeah.
thing. Okay.
And we do a lot of mixed, a lot of white and blue, white and gray, blue and gray. Green has not taken off for us. It's a little bit more, the green that we usually are doing is kind of a sage green, a little bit more muted. I've seen kitchens done in hunter green. We've done 1 or 2 that have gotten close to a hunter green. But again, that's kind of on that cobalt blue scale of, are you going to get tired of it? Because again, you know, we're selling a quality that 20, 30, 40, 50 years down the road should still be in good shape, functioning well. So the question is if you have to replace or refinish something because of color, are you really wanting to do that? Because it's not inexpensive to get that accomplished.
All right. So when you mentioned 2 colors, white and blue or whatever, are they pinstripes or what are they doing?
Good question. I should clarify. If there's an island, usually the island is the focal point, and that would be probably the bolder color. Or if we're doing base cabinets versus the upper cabinets, usually the upper cabinets being the lighter color, the lower color being the darker or deeper color,
Huh.
because it looks heavier,
Okay.
so it's a little easier on the eye
All
to make
right.
that transition that way.
I had no idea. It's so interesting. Like I see my house, buddy's houses, end of the number of
let me
houses.
come
that I
by
see.
and talk to whoever
Yeah,
else is in
right.
the house.
Yeah, it's just what I need.
And we're not even on an
Don't talk to my
airplane.
wife. Yeah, don't talk to my wife. Yeah, we. I don't even know what we have. Oak. I don't know. Some kind of wood.
Well, and the reason that oak has diminished is not that it's an inferior wood or anything of that sort. It's just that so many of us grew up in a home that had oak cabinetry. And it's like, well, I want something a little different, better, whatever the case may be. So that's why oak has really kind of faltered. in popularity.
All right.
Granted, sooner or later, because everything
come
goes in
back,
cycles,
right.
it'll come back.
Yeah.
And trust me, they're starting to show it in magazines, which is kind of the front runner for seeing it cycle back.
So wait a couple years and saw your house with the oak in it, and people are like, "Oh, did you
Hey.
just get these done?"
Brand new, right?
Totally did. Totally did. Interesting. We have, our house is old enough that we have I don't know if I'd call it stained glass,
Oh, sure.
but we have a window cabinet
Blood
thing.
glass, yeah.
And I don't know what the goal of that was, but do you still see that?
We do, heavy sigh, right? We do a lot of clear glass, some opaque glass. The stained glass has really diminished in popularity. And I think it's because the thought of soft contemporary, transitional, farmhouse contemporary, or kind of that industrial age, slightly looking, none of that blends well with the leaded glass
Yeah.
or the stained glass.
All right.
So, but the clear glass certainly can. We can do things like the interior of a cabinet is a different color than the exterior. Put a clear glass panel on it so you highlight that. Put lights inside the cabinet so that you can turn on. So everybody walking into that kitchen is well aware that you did something different on the inside of the cabinet.
Oh.
Just keep in mind, as soon as you put lights in a cabinet, glass panels in the door, now everything in that cabinet's on display. So your Badger plastic cup collection
Yeah.
probably isn't going to be stored there.
Oh my gosh.
And what you store there isn't going to be cluttered in that space. It's more to highlight or accentuate that particular piece.
You know, as I'm listening to you, I'm like, maybe I need that just so that my wife and kids stop coming home with these mugs from whatever sportsy thing they went to. We don't need to save all these.
Right.
And
right.
then, like, look, we're highlighting our garbage here. Just
I'm doing a project now where we're not remodeling the entire kitchen, it's just the island. And the request is they have all these thermal mugs.
okay.
And they wanted a specific wide drawer deep for all these mugs to be stored in. And it's like, how many of these do you have? They have
You're
quite
talking
a
about
few.
the big dumb cup,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Stanley cup or whatever?
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
Wow.
It's interesting.
Everybody's got their thing.
Oh, sure, sure.
Tell me a story. I just saw somebody had a dishwasher that was drawers
Yes.
instead of just a flip down with a wire basket and stuff like that.
Fisher Paykel is the main manufacturer that's doing that.
Okay.
And the purpose of it is, instead of waiting for the entire dishwasher to be filled up, you can do half a load, so to speak, and it's more energy efficient that way.
All right.
Other things that are fairly new when it comes to appliances is filtration systems, microwave drawers. So instead of having the microwave above the range, which usually has a very inefficient ventilation system to it, we're putting it underneath the counter so it's not sitting on the counter. But I'm 6 feet tall. So for me to bend down underneath the counter to be able to program a regular computer or a microwave on a shelf,
Yeah.
it's awkward.
All right.
So now what they've done is they've created a drawer that opens, and then the control panel's at the top of the face of that drawer front, and then that's where your controls are, but you can see it from maybe not purely standing up, but
Sure.
being more erect.
Interesting.
So
A
kind of fun.
drawer microwave. All right.
Oh, and drawers in refrigeration, whether it's freezer, refrigerator. Refrigerators have gone hog wild in different shapes, sizes, different types, and even drawers that can go back and forth from being a refrigeration area to a freezer area.
Oh, really?
So,
All right. And so that comes into play with the cabinets, I imagine.
a little bit, depending on what the finish on the appliances are, if they want cabinet fronts for them or not. Again, stainless steel appliances are by far the most popular. Appliance manufacturers have truly been trying to get the consumer away from stainless steel.
How come?
Well, here's how they've tried to accommodate their mission, and that is if you replace, say you have all white appliances, the dishwasher needs to be replaced. You say, well, I don't want white, I'm going to go to stainless steel. I want a stainless steel dishwasher. That's great. As soon as that stainless steel dishwasher is installed, you look at the kitchen, it's like, Well, now everything else looks dated.
Refrigerator, oven,
Right?
sure.
So instead of doing them one at a time, they're trying to get you to do a suite of appliances. And that also bodes true because the duration of an appliance's life, most typical appliances, we're getting between 8 and 12 years out of them.
What?
Yeah.
Well, that's nothing.
Remember when we used to have appliances that would be 20, 30 years old?
I bet the refrigerator that I
Doesn't
had
have it
from
anymore.
when I was a kid, that's probably still in someone's garage going. I remember it said Frigidaire by General Motors. It was avocado green. And
Oh,
the
there you go.
thing, yeah, that was my entire, I don't know, growing up, right? 18 years. Made a few moves. Right, the thing was tough as nails.
Yeah. So kind of on the concept of trying to replace stainless steel, so what the appliance manufacturers have done is they will do things like handle styles.
Okay.
So it's kind of taking it to the next level, but say you have a GE grouping of appliances. GE has, I believe it's 4 different levels, everything from monogram down to just plain GE. Well, the handle style on all the appliances in the GE level or the GE Cafe level or the GE monogram level will all be a suite of appliances where the handles match.
All right.
If you start intermixing the different lines to get the features you want and not pay more than you want to on appliances where you don't feel you need those features,
Right.
that's how they're getting you, is by changing the style of the handles.
Oh.
That also tries to keep the homeowner loyal to that brand. So if you have to replace one appliance, it's with that same level so that the handles match throughout the kitchen.
So the moral of the story is just keep that avocado green appliance.
It'll come
Run
back
with that thing. Yeah.
sooner or later.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That is shady.
I don't know if I want to call it shady. It was clever.
I
But not
suppose,
necessarily
sure.
to the consumer's benefit.
Right. Yeah, it just seems, I guess, wasteful. And I don't know. I just feel like when I'm looking at my appliances, if I want to buy a new appliance, the handle design is not going to be my first priority.
Sure.
It's going to be, I don't know, whatever options you got.
Functions,
Yeah, whatever. Does this dishwasher clean or is it quiet or whatever?
Yeah.
Like, oh, this handle doesn't match. Oh my God.
Well, and depths of refrigerators. Now, you know, your Sub-Zeros and Thermador and things of that sort, those are built-in refrigerators typically. If you go into an appliance store, you really have to be careful because there will be what they refer to as counter depth or cabinet depth, and then full size. Oddly enough, typically the counter depth or the cabinet depth, which are 24 or 25 inches deep for the box of the refrigerator, is so that it doesn't stick out from the cabinetry as much. But they charge more for the shallower depth appliances than they do the full size.
Oh, really?
So you're paying more to get less cubic footage of storage. But the demand is there.
Sure.
And the only response I get from whether it's appliance salespeople or I get to talk to manufacturers as well, and it's, well, we have to retool the line to get to the shallower depth. I says, yes, but then you have to retool the line again to get to the deeper depth.
We're retooling to make these 50,000 refrigerators,
Exactly.
right? Not asking for one. We're stamping
So,
them out.
yeah.
Oh, that's funny. I think of it on the flip side, though. How much food are you saving because you got that leftover that you didn't forget about because it's not
buried in the
7
back.
feet behind?
Which is why we do a lot of pullouts and things of that sort
Okay.
in our cabinetry, is so things don't get lost in the back of the cabinet.
That is smart.
I'm looking at a kitchen remodel northwest of Middleton. It'd be a Middleton address, but you know, they had a pantry closet. They had 6 deep cans of green beans or something of that sort. And it's like, your grocery shopping can be more efficient if it's not that deep. So, you know, if you're missing the first 1 or 2 cans, you don't buy more to fill up that space.
Right.
So this way, if you have something that, you know, a 9-inch cabinet can probably handle 3 soup cans deep, or green beans, or whatever the
Sure,
case may
whatever.
be.
Yeah.
So, but then you're not wasting that foot, or in the, see, a closet typically is 24 inches on the inside, which makes it 28.5 inches drywall face to drywall face on the outside. And so you're giving up the 4.5-inch thickness of the framed 2x4 wall and drywall, whereas cabinetry, you're just going to have the thickness of the door and the back panel. So it can be more space efficient.
Okay.
I'm not saying more cost effective,
Sure.
but it will be more space efficient.
Because wood is more expensive than drywall, so
Yeah.
fair. All right. Interesting. So you start your own business,
I did.
and you got your Amish manufacturer,
Mm-hmm.
and then how did you make your first sale?
First sale was actually a referral from a general contractor. Now, I'm big on ethics, and that is that I did not let any of the contractors that I worked with know that I was going out on my own until after I was actually gone, because I didn't think that was fair to the company that I worked for, and I want to be able to sleep at night.
Sure.
So I waited, and then at the time I was working with, and I was initially focusing on remodeling. And just with new construction, it takes longer to get paid because of title companies and things of that sort. And a lot of times cabinetry falls into the last draw, which means almost everything has to be done before you get paid. In remodeling, you have a schedule, and it's progressive. As things get done, you get to collect your payments.
There's draws or something
Yeah.
like that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the situation being is I regularly worked with 16 different remodeling contractors. I went to each of them individually, met with them, told them, explained what I was going to do. 14 of them followed me, which I thought was great. The other 2 were planning on retiring within a year or 2. They just didn't want to rock the boat. Totally get it. So evidently I had made a positive enough impression on them that they thought it was more important to follow me than to stay with the person that I worked for.
Nice. That's awesome.
And then a couple years down the road, I was working with a remodeling contractor that also did new home construction. In fact, most years he probably does more new home construction. And he said, "Are you willing to do new construction?" And I said, for him, I was willing. And then I gave in to some of the others that approached me as well.
All right.
But it's interesting. Being in new construction, we get into wainscot paneling, we get into false beams in the ceiling and things of that sort, because we can do them with some joinery that carpenters on site just don't have the tools to do.
Gotcha.
So, and it's kind of fun for us because we're doing things other than just building boxes with doors and drawers on them.
Fair.
So, I mean, we've done hidden doors for access into hidden storage rooms and things of that sort. So it's
All right.
it can be kind of fun.
Oh, that's clever.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Tell me, you've seen a lot of stuff. We're talking 40 plus years in the cabinet business.
Yeah.
What has changed besides just materials and wood and finish?
Durability of finish. Instead of going and having 3 choices of stain colors to choose from, right now we're offering 66 different stain colors on each wood species as standard.
On each wood species?
On each wood species.
Oh
Now,
my gosh.
That's probably rare. I'm guessing most factory-built cabinets have 12, 15 stain colors, but much more than the 3 that were common.
All right.
Light,
darker, medium.
Exactly. And painted finishes, obviously, is something that's really come about. Some of the tooling that's able to do some of the joinery in cabinetry, we do on our finished ends, on our framed cabinets. It's called a lock miter system, where it's a double tug and groove, and it has a much better appearance look to it. Again, more furniture look than what most kitchen cabinets, where the side panel just butts into the back of the face frame. Let's see, what else? Door styles, the joinery in door styles is much better than what it was in the past. The big trend lately is the skinny door frame, which is a little misleading because if you look at the back of the door, it's not nearly that skinny. But a lot of people think of the Amish as not very trendy. Well, we're the ones who kind of pull them in that direction. I go to national shows, see what the trends are, and then bring it back and say to the Amish, how can we get this accomplished? We will do, Revishelf is a manufacturer of just interior features, and they sell to a lot of factory-built cabinets and such. And they started coming out with, instead of maple interior features that pulled out of the cabinetry, walnut features. And it's like, well, there's no reason we can't do that. It's the same machinery, it's just starting with a different wood species. So we can do walnut drawer boxes if you decide to. They are more expensive, but your neighbor won't have them.
All right.
So it's just kind of interesting. We do a lot of custom wood tops, whether it's for an island or whatever, only because we can do different wood species. I have a table maker that is Amish, that we order in stools and chairs, and then he will build the tables from scratch, so we can create pretty much any shape to a table, do different pedestals, different leg styles, and things of that sort. The big advantage and why I went down this path was I can now get it stained to match whatever your kitchen cabinetry is. Or if we're doing a hutch in a dining room, now we can have the dining room table and chairs match. So it's interesting. And then we've done some custom tables with metal framing. So I have a fabricator up out of Baraboo that does some metal fabrication for us on. It's not often that we get those types of requests, but
Nice.
Get into some unique stuff.
So it's custom, it's fun,
It is.
and you're liking it?
Well, people even just working for one employee or employer for almost 30 years, how can you do the same thing day after day? And it's like, I never have 2 days that are alike. It's different requests from the clients, different shape to the kitchen. The cabinets are going to be a different price range or built differently. So there's so many variables today that no 2 days are alike.
Fair. I
So
totally
makes for a lot of
understand
fun.
that. Yeah. That's the game of business, right? Every day is a little different.
You bet.
Alan, where can people find you?
Well, my cell phone number, they can contact me directly, and that's 608-575-5552. My direct email address is Allen, which is ALLEN, at Curran, CURRAN, Cabinetry, CABINETRY, design, DESIGN.com. We do have a showroom. The showroom is located at 664 North High Point Road in Madison, and it's just off the Beltline at Old Sauk.
Oh, right on.
I do recommend appointments because there are times when everybody's out at job sites at different stages of the progression of construction. So make sure that someone's there to answer your questions and be able to walk you through the showroom.
Nice.
And let's see, I think this showroom, we just moved there a little over a year ago, 2,400 square feet. Again, you can't show everything. So what we've done is we take photos of some of the projects that we've done so that we have a variety of looks. And then we have that imprinted on the backside of an acrylic panel and have that mounted on the wall. So instead of having 15 kitchens on display, we have one kitchen on display and then photos of probably 24 others.
All right.
So it kind of enlarges the showroom, but I do know that people like to touch and feel the cabinetry, the countertop materials. We have a room, it's called a selection room, where we keep our countertop samples, cabinet hardware, things of that sort. We actually have just inside our front door, we do both framed and frameless construction on our cabinetry. And we have pedestals without any countertop on it, so we can show all the ins and outs on how the cabinetry is built, and you can see it. It's not covered up by a countertop where structure is hidden.
Ah, nice.
So we're pretty proud of how our cabinets are built, and we like to show it off.
That is cool.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, thanks for being on the show.
Oh, appreciate you having me.
This has been Authentic Business Adventures, the business program that brings you the struggle stories and triumphant successes of business owners across the land. What else we got here? We're locally underwritten by the Bank of Sun Prairie. If you're listening or watching this on the web, if you could do us a huge favor, share it with your friends, give it the big old thumbs up, subscribe, and of course, if you know anyone that's got a kitchen or bathroom that's a little dated, Alan here is going to take care of them. Just introduce and let the magic happen.
That's all it takes.
And then I suppose that just snowballs through the whole neighborhood, right?
In fact, I am ordering yard signs now just so we can promote through a neighborhood.
You and everybody else, man.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I mean, that's the game. That's marketing and innovation, right? That's just the way it goes. We'd like to thank you, our wonderful listeners, as well as our guest, Alan. Alan, can you tell us the website one more time?
Website is currancabinetrydesign.com.
Awesome. And then the address, physical address.
664 North High Point Road, Madison, Wisconsin. Beltline, Old Sauk exit toward Madison. You'll pass the showroom on the right side. The very first stoplight is at High Point. So easy to find.
There you go. Past episodes can be found morning, noon, and night at the podcast link found at drawincustomers.com. Thank you for joining us. We will see you next week. I want you to stay awesome. And if you do nothing else, enjoy your business. And Authentic Business Adventures is brought to you by Calls on Call, offering call answering and receptionist services for service businesses across the country on the web at callsoncall.com. And of course, the Bold Business Book, a book for the entrepreneur and all of us, available wherever fine books are sold.